Peace and love, black family. This is the Prince of Pan-Africanism, Dr. Umar Johnson, King Kong Consciousness. You are visiting with me today at the Southview Cemetery in Atlanta, Georgia. This cemetery was founded by Africans, our ancestors, during slavery or immediately thereafter. There was a time when white people didn't allow black people to be buried in the same cemetery as their deceased. And so our ancestors, during slavery and immediately thereafter, pooled their money together, something we seem to have lost, how to do today. And our ancestors pulled their money together and they bought 25 acres of land here in Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County. And they started a graveyard so that Africans could be buried in a respectable and dignified manner. From 25 acres, it is more than 100 acres today. And in this grave site, many enslaved Africans are buried. In this cemetery, many great African leaders from Georgia in the Atlanta area are buried. The mother and father of the good Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. are buried here in Southview Cemetery. Daddy King and Mama King. And as we all know, Mama King was murdered in 1974 under some very suspicious circumstances, which allegedly, as the official account goes, she was murdered by a deranged person who came into the King Church or family home. And I don't buy that one bit. I believe that Mama King was assassinated. But getting back, brothers and sisters, Daddy King and Mama King are both buried here in Southview Cemetery in Atlanta. But the reason that the Prince of Pan-Africanism is here today, the reason that the King Kong Consciousness is visiting today, is because one of our greatest black leaders, one of our greatest black preachers, one of our greatest black revolutionary organizers, one of the grandfathers of revolutionary Pan-African nationalism is buried here, brothers and sisters. We talk about Nat Turner, who was a preacher, Reverend Nat Turner, but we don't talk enough about this man, Bishop Henry McNeil Turner. See, this is another Reverend Turner that you need to learn about. Let me tell you about this black man right here, Ashe, to whose grave we want to pour libations to, Ashe. This is the grave of Bishop Henry McNeil Turner. Do your research on this grandfather of Pan-Africanism, brothers and sisters. Here's a quote from him at his own gravesite where it says, "There is a God that runs this universe, and nations and people are no exception true. An infinite number of laws may harness up the mighty machinery and serve as so many potencies in the mysterious and marvelous revolutions, but there is a God in the background nevertheless, and he rules in the armies of heavens and among the inhabitants of the earth." Bishop Henry McNeil Turner, 1889. He died in 1915, brothers and sisters. Bishop Henry McNeil Turner, this grandfather of revolutionary Pan-African nationalism, he left us the year after the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey founded the greatest of associations, the Universal Negro Improvement Association. And so before we pour our libation here at the grave of one of my ideological forefathers, this is one of my ideological ancestors, because he was a Pan-Africanist before me. He helped lay down the tenets of Pan-Africanism before Marcus Garvey was even born. And for those of you who have ever heard the saying that there was a Marcus Garvey before Marcus Garvey, this is the Marcus Garvey before Marcus Garvey. Bishop Henry McNeil Turner was considered the first Marcus Garvey. And the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey that we know is considered to be the second Marcus Garvey, because so much of what Garvey taught was taught and borrowed by this black man, Bishop Henry McNeil Turner, brothers and sisters. Abraham Lincoln, President Abraham Lincoln, that white supremacist, he appointed Bishop Henry McNeil Turner. This black man was appointed by President Lincoln. This black man was appointed by President Lincoln to become the first black chaplain general in the United States military. Let me repeat that. Let me repeat that. This is the grave of the first black chaplain in United States military history, appointed by President Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War. Okay. This is him. Guess what else, brothers and sisters? This is the black man that called the red, white, and blue United States flag a stinking dirty rag. Let me say it again. This is the black man who called the United States flag in the 1800s. This black man had the boldness and courage to call the United States flag a stinking, filthy rag. Isn't that something when we look at the Colin Kaepernick protest? Isn't that something when we look at all the black athletes who are afraid to stand with Colin Kaepernick to honor a flag? But this bold black man, prophet of Pan-Africanism, called that flag a stinking, dirty rag. And so the tombstone reads, brothers and sisters, the tombstone reads that Bishop Turner was born February 1st, 1834. That means he was born 3 years after the Nat Turner War. He was born 3 years after the Nat Turner War. He died on May 9th, 1915. That means he died almost a year after the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey started the red, black, and green greatest of associations, UNIA-ACL. And then it reads, grandson of an African prince. He was the grandson of an African prince. Legend has it, brothers and sisters, that one time the slave master was inspecting the body of one of Bishop Turner's ancestors. I believe it was his grandfather or father, and they found on his body the tattoo of a Mandingo warrior prince sign. Let me say it again. When one of his ancestors' bodies was inspected by the slave master, they discovered the symbol of the royal family of the Mandingo nation. And so that symbol is only given to those who are of royal bloodline within the Mandingo culture and within the Mandingo civilization. So it was concluded that Bishop Henry McNeil Turner was a descendant of an African prince. Ashe. Ashe. Also, for my black women out there, my beautiful black sisters out there, I want you to know that Bishop Henry McNeil Turner was the first bishop of the African Methodist Episcopal Church to ordain a black woman as a minister. Let me say it again. Black power to the black women out there. Black power to the black women out there. You're looking at the grave of the first black bishop of the AME Church to ordain a woman to be a preacher in the AME Church. Bishop Henry McNeil Turner. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So it says grandson of an African prince, a bishop, presiding elder, pastor, chaplain, first chaplain of the U.S. Army, appointed by Abraham Lincoln himself. He was a state senator of Georgia. Let's talk about that for a minute. Y'all remember right after during Reconstruction, what happened? During Reconstruction, dozens of black men were what? Elected to the state legislature in many of the southern states. In many of the southern states. Dozens of black men were elected to the state legislature in dozens of the southern states. Here's a Civil War symbol honoring Bishop Henry McNeil Turner, who served in the Civil War. First black chaplain appointed by President Abraham Lincoln. First black AME bishop to appoint a woman to be a minister. Ashe. And we have his lovely wife, one of his wives. He was married 3 times, brothers and sisters. He was married 3 times. And I believe that is due to the death of the earlier wives. But this is Eliza Ann Turner, the wife of Bishop Henry McNeil Turner. Eliza Ann Turner. We got to do our research. Who knows? He might have been related to Nat Turner. He might have been related to Nat Turner. And so here is the grave of his lovely wife, Eliza. Okay, Eliza Peacher Turner. She was also born in slavery, 1838. She died 1889, brothers and sisters. This is our history. This is when the black church meant something. This is when the black church meant something. This is when the black church used to fight for black folks. Guess what else y'all need to know about this black man? But let me finish real quick. Let me finish this. State Senator of Georgia, organizer and builder of the African Methodist Episcopal Church in Georgia. This is the black man most responsible for the expansion of the African Methodist Episcopal Church throughout the state of Georgia. I repeat, this is the black man who is most responsible for the expansion of the African Methodist Episcopal Church throughout the state of Georgia and throughout the South. Oh yes. Oh yes. This is the black man who took the African Methodist Episcopal Church into Liberia, West Africa. This is the black man who took the African Methodist Episcopal Church into Sierra Leone, West Africa. This is the black man who took the African Methodist Episcopal Church into South Africa. That's right, brothers and sisters. Some of y'all remember the Ethiopian Orthodox Church that the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey helped influence. Some of y'all remember the Ethiopian Orthodox Church from Garvey days. Well, guess what? Before Garvey was born, Bishop Henry McNeil Turner was in South Africa, and he forged a unification of the Ethiopian Church of South Africa with the African Methodist Episcopal Church founded in America by Richard Allen. So if you live in South Africa, to my South African brothers and sisters, the reason why y'all have a lot of African Methodist Episcopal Church in Johannesburg, the reason why you have a lot of African Methodist Episcopal churches in Cape Town, the reason why you have a lot of AME churches on the Eastern Cape and the Western Cape in Pretoria is because of this black man right here. This is the black man that took the AME movement into Africa, Bishop Turner. This is the black man who called the United States flag a stinking dirty rag. He said that flag don't represent me. That's a stinking dirty rag. He said that 100 years ago, and you got Negroes scared to speak up against the flag today. Bishop Turner, who was an elected politician to the Georgia State House of Representatives as a politician, elected, he called the flag a dirty rag 100 years ago, and you got athletes. Ray Lewis and others, you got athletes. Deion Sanders and Shaquille O'Neal, you got athletes who scared to speak up in defense of black folk against the flag of the United States when this bold black man did it 100 years ago. This bold black man did it 100 years ago. Ashe, Ashe. That's why I'm here. I always go to the graves of the grandfathers of Pan-Africanism. See, when I say I'm Pan-African, I'm representing all of those who came before me. And this is one of the greatest of them all. Rest in peace to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Rest in peace to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But I want to correct the historical record. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad is not the first black man to say God was black. He borrowed that from the Honorable Marcus Garvey. And guess what? The Honorable Marcus Garvey was not the first black man to say God was black. Guess where he borrowed it from? The same place Elijah Muhammad borrowed it from. This black man, Bishop Henry McNeil Turner. Bishop Henry McNeil Turner. Much respect to the Nation of Islam. Much respect. But when you do your Elijah Muhammad history, when you do your Honorable Elijah Muhammad history, you will learn that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, when he was Elijah Poole in Georgia, growing up in Georgia, the state of McNeil Turner, he went to school at Bishop Henry McNeil Turner School. Let me say it again. I don't think y'all heard me. I don't think y'all heard me. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was once a student at Bishop Henry McNeil Turner's School for Black Children. Do your research. Do your research. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Shout out to the Nation of Islam. Shout out to the Garvey movement. We all got to unite and come together. Shout out to the Moors. Shout out to the Hebrews. Shout out to the guys in Earth. Shout out to the Nawapians. Shout out to the socialists. Shout out to the alien worshipers. We got to bring them all together. We just need them alien worshipers to come back down to earth. We got to do work. Can't be staying at the stars all day. We got to do work. Brothers and sisters, this was a bold black man right here. This was one of the first black men who said black people will never be treated equal in America. I'm giving you the facts right now. I'm giving you the facts right now. This is one of the first black men to say black people will never be treated as equal in the United States. He said, take me back to Africa. Bishop Henry McNeil Turner said, we are an African people. We will never be American. He said, we are an African people. We will never be American. And this black man took 4 trips to Africa, South Africa, Sierra Leone, Liberia. He helped black people go back to Africa. Bishop Turner even secured ships to take black people back to Africa. Marcus Garvey wasn't even born yet. I need my fellow Garveyites to understand. Marcus Garvey wasn't the first to say we needed to go back. Bishop Turner did it before Garvey was born. Garvey and Elijah were not the first to say God was black. Bishop Turner was saying it before they were born. This is why we got to know our history. Give credit to where credit is due, but know the truth. Turner was first. And Bishop Turner picked up from Martin Delany. See, Martin Delany and John Brown Russworm and Alexander Kreml and Henry Highland Garnett, who are all compatriots of my ancestor, the great Frederick Douglass, they were like that first generation of Pan-African nationalists. This is the second generation of Pan-African nationalists. Bishop Turner was that second generation, and Marcus Garvey was that third generation. Let me say it again. Martin Delany was the first generation. Bishop Turner was the second generation. Marcus Garvey was the third generation. Malcolm X was the fourth generation. Dr. Umar Johnson, the fifth generation of revolutionary Pan-African nationalists. Y'all not ready for this. Y'all not ready for this. Y'all not ready for this. This black man, I'm going to tell y'all a little family history. I'm going to tell y'all a little family history. My 3 times great-grandfather, the Reverend George Washington Bailey, excuse me, I'm confusing ancestors. My 3 times great-grandfather, George Washington Bailey, the cousin and nephew of Frederick Douglass, who turned 186, I want to say, this past November the 14th. He was born in 1841. He married Annie Wayman, my 3 times great-grandmother. Annie Wayman was the niece of Bishop Alexander Wayman. Let me repeat this. My 3 times great-grandmother was the niece of the 7th bishop of the AME Church, Bishop Alexander Wayman. Bishop Alexander Wayman was once one of the workers of the Underground Railroad Station office in Philadelphia, PA. Bishop Alexander Wayman, my 4 times great-grand-uncle, fought to help Bishop Henry McNeil Turner win an election as the 12th bishop of the AME Church. You are looking at the 12th bishop after Richard Allen of the AME Church. This is the 12th bishop of the AME Church. Grandfather of Pan-African nationalism. One of the first black men to take Africans back to Africa, who said we are an African people, who called the American flag a stinking dirty rag. One of the first black politicians elected in Reconstruction, Georgia. That's why we're here today. That's why we're here today. We know Reverend Nat Turner, now we got to learn Bishop Turner. We know Reverend Nat Turner, now we got to learn Bishop Turner. Yes, indeed. Somebody asked about this plaque. Well, this plaque was erected by the Women's Missionary Society 6th District AME Church, June of 1996. That's when they put this beautiful plaque here. Because he was buried in 1915, that's a long time ago. He was buried in 1915, that's a long time ago. So they had to put this here. But, you know, dress it up, take care of the ancestors. It's about taking care of the ancestors. It's about taking care of the ancestors. But let me get back to the family history. So anyhow, my 3 times great-grandmother, Annie Wayman, rest in peace, was the niece of the 7th bishop of the AME Church, my 4 times great-granduncle, Bishop Alexander Wayman. Well, guess what? Bishop Alexander Wayman was married. He passed away. When my 4 times great-granduncle, Bishop Alexander Wayman, passed, and he was the 7th bishop. Bishop Wayman was the 7th. For all my AME people, you should know this history. Bishop Wayman was the 7th AME bishop after Richard Allen. Bishop Turner was the 12th. Well, guess what? It was my 4 times great-granduncle, Bishop Wayman, who taught Bishop Turner, excuse me, he taught him too about the pastorship, but he helped him get elected. A lot of blacks in the AME did not want Bishop Turner to get elected. They didn't want Bishop Turner to get elected because he was a Pan-African nationalist. They said he was too radical. They said he would upset white folks. This is what they were saying. So a lot of people didn't want this black man. He was saying we need to go back to Africa. He was saying we need to go back to Africa. So a lot of people in the AME church said we don't want him to be our bishop. He too radical. He too revolutionary. He going to get the Ku Klux Klan sicked on us. And so it was my 4 times great grand uncle, Bishop Alexander Wayman, who helped him fight to get the election. And it was Bishop Alexander Wayman who inaugurated him as the 12th bishop. Now, here's the interesting thing. Here's the interesting thing. When my 4 times great grand uncle, the 7th bishop of the AME church, Alexander Wayman, died, Bishop Turner married his widow. Let me say it again. When my 4 times great grand uncle, the 7th bishop of the AME church, Alexander Wayman, when he died, this black man married his widow. So that's a little interesting there. I don't know if he had his blessing to marry his wifey after he died. You know, we don't know. We ain't going to get into that. You know what I mean? But he took over the wife and he stayed with the wife until I think he transitioned or the wife transitioned. So if we look at it in a certain area, from a certain perspective, if we look at this, Dr. Umar Johnson is a relative through marriage of Bishop Turner. Ain't that interesting? My 4 times great grand uncle's wife, his widow, married Bishop Turner after he died. So from a certain perspective, me and Bishop Turner are related, okay, through the marriage, potentially, okay, of my 4 times great grand uncle. He dies and then his wife marries Bishop Turner. So I guess there's a relationship there. I guess there's a relationship there. So brothers and sisters, we're going to get ready to pour the libation. We're going to get ready to pour the libation. I'm being clumsy with the water as always. All right. So we're going to do the first libation 2. Almighty God, Supreme Consciousness, Olodumare, say Ashe. And then we're going to pour the libation next to the Orishas, the indomitable spirits that run the universe. Okay, to Yemoja and Ogun and Oshun and Oya, who's here mastering over the grave sites, and to Eshu that opened up the gates to allow me to come and visit the great ancestor today, to Olokun, the deep dark owner of water at the bottom of the ocean. We want to say Ashe to Shango, the energy of thunder, and Oshun, the energy of the river, and Yemoja, the energy of the ocean, and Ochozi, the energy of the tracker, and Agayu, and Inlay, and all the great Orishas, and Netarus, and the Loas, and the Abusums that are out there. Ashe. I want to pour libation to Bishop Henry McNeil Turner, this black man right here. We call him to help us fight. The same racism he fought, we fighting right now. Ashe. Bishop Turner, we come to salute you. We come to thank you. We come to honor you for fighting for us. I thank you for laying down the roadmap, for giving me the blueprint for what true revolutionary Pan-African nationalism is all about. Ashe. To Bishop Turner, we thank you for building a strong revolutionary African Methodist Episcopal Church. Ashe. We thank you for building a relationship with Africa, teaching Africans in Africa and Africans in America that we are one people. Ashe. We thank you for telling us that God was black. This is the first black man to say God was black. Let me say it again. This is the first black man to say God was black. Not Elijah, not Garvey. This is the first black man to say God was black. Bishop Turner. Ashe. We thank you for standing up to the Ku Klux Klan. Brothers and sisters, the Ku Klux Klan wanted to. The Ku Klux Klan, brothers and sisters, they wanted to destroy. They wanted to hurt. Okay. They wanted to kill and they wanted to maim Bishop Turner. Okay. They wanted to do that, brothers and sisters. Ashe, but he stood strong. This is one of the first black leaders. This is one of the first black organizers who had to travel with full-time security because the KKK wanted to kill him. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it again. This is one of the first black leaders who had to travel with full-time security 24 hours a day because the Ku Klux Klan wanted to take his life. Ashe. Bishop Turner, I applaud you for being a good example of African manhood. Ashe. Bishop Turner, I applaud you for helping to fight for our people. I applaud you for being elected into the State House and fighting for the rights of black folks in the State House, fighting for the spirits of black folks in church, fighting for the future of black people in Africa. one of the greatest Pan-Africanists of all time, Ashe. One of the greatest black preachers of all time, Ashe. That's right, one of the greatest black orators of all time, Ashe. I thank you for fighting for the freedom of black people in the Civil War, Ashe. So we ask you to come on back and help us now. I'm here in Atlanta, I'm in your state, which happens to be the state of my paternal ancestors. This happens to be the state of the Shoemake clan, the Shoemake dynasty. I am Dr. Jermaine Shoemake, proud descendant of the Shoemakes of Georgia. I'm back looking for a school. Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, Bishop Turner. I saw a school yesterday, Bishop Turner, and I was pretty impressed with that school. Little expensive, but not too far out of the hunting range for the monies that the people have helped us raise, brother. And for you who have helped build schools and who have helped build churches, I'm asking you to help me build the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy. And if we buy that school, Bishop Turner, if we buy this school in Atlanta, Georgia, the state of my paternal ancestors, we're going to call that first Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy the Bishop Henry McNeil Turner Memorial Academy #1. I said we're going to call that first school the Bishop Henry McNeil Turner Memorial Academy #1. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Ancestor, come with me. Help me fight. I'm all alone out there. Ain't too many Pan-Africanists doing the work. It's a lot of chit-chatter and a lot of money hustling. A lot of information sharing, but no institution building. A lot of factual information, but no organizations and institutions. We don't need no more smart people. We need organizations and institutions. We don't need no more DVDs and lectures. We need institutions and organizations. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, Bishop Turner. I bear you a farewell unto your lovely wife, Eliza Preacher Turner. Ashe. Ashe. And of course, you were once married to my 4 times great-grand auntie-in-law. You were once married to my 4 times great-grand auntie-in-law. Ashe to her, and Ashe to your other wives and to your children. Ashe. Brothers and sisters, y'all don't know this, but I was at the cemetery. Let me tell you how spirit works. Brothers and sisters, I was at the cemetery walking around for about 2-3 hours today. I was at the cemetery walking around. I went all over the cemetery, brothers and sisters, and I could not find the grave of Bishop Henry McNeil Turner. I could not find the grave site. I looked all around and I said, you know what? I'm not going to find it today. The cemetery office is closed. Nobody would be able to show me exactly where the grave site was at. I've been here for 2-3 hours looking for my ancestor. Could not find him. So I went to the restroom and I called on the spirit of Orisha Oya, who oversees the cemeteries. I called on the spirit of Orisha Oya, who I have received into my life at the Oyotunji African village. The spirit that travels in the wind. And I asked her, I said, great mother of the cemeteries, please direct me to the gravesite of my Pan-Africanist ancestor, Bishop Henry McNeil Turner. Yes, I did. I called on Frederick Douglass, who worked with him. Yes, I did. I called on SU to open up the way so I can find Bishop Turner's gravesite. And guess what happened, brothers and sisters? I got on the internet and looked up his name. And I found a picture of the gravesite. And I saw that there was a tall monument to his wife, because as you can see, his tombstone is flat. There was a tall monument of his wife, and that's how I was able to finally find the grave. I had walked past it the whole time I was in the cemetery. I had walked past the grave, kept walking past it because the roads wasn't open. SU didn't open the roads yet. Olo Damari didn't give me the blessing yet. And then finally, when I pulled back up, right up here, I've been here 3 hours, 2-3 hours, and I finally pull up. And guess what? His grave is the first one by the gate. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Y'all see the gate, right? Let me show you how close his grave is. Right there. Y'all see that? So it was in my face all day, brothers and sisters. The grave site was in my face all day, but I couldn't find it because spirit didn't show me. That's why we got to make sure we call on spirit. It was in my face all day. I was about to leave, having not found the great ancestor's grave site, till I called on the spirit. And once I called on the spirit to open up the road, I was passing by the gravesite all day long. Ashe. Ashe. Ashe to the ancestor. Let me take something back with me from the grave. I got to take something back with me from the grave. Maybe I'll take a couple of these little acorns over here. I don't think I see no rock. I'd rather have a rock. I'd rather have a rock for the altar. I got an altar for all my Pan-African nationalist ancestors. I'm not playing with y'all. When we get Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, we're going to have an altar right outside. I'm not playing with y'all no more. I'm not playing with y'all. I'm not playing. ATL, if we get to school in ATL, y'all better rock with me. Hotlanta, y'all better rock with me. Who knows, if we get to school, I will be announcing it at the Atlanta Power Lecture during Kwanzaa at the Shrine of the Black Madonna, Thursday, December the 28th. Did y'all hear what I said? I said if we choose Atlanta, it will be announced in Atlanta at Dr. Umar's lecture, Shrine of the Black Madonna, Thursday, December the 28th. Get your tickets, drumarjohnson.eventbrite.com. Get your tickets, drumarjohnson.eventbrite.com. Atlanta, Georgia. Get ready for the lecture. I will be back in Atlanta at the Shrine of the Black Madonna, Thursday, December the 28th. Get your tickets. I need a stone. That might be it. That might be it. Detroit. I ain't give up on Detroit. If I get to school in Detroit, I'm announcing it in Detroit. If I get to school in Detroit, I'm announcing it in Detroit. Chicago. I ain't gave up on Chicago. If I get to school in Chicago, I'm announcing it in Chicago. December 26th. First day of Kwanzaa. Oh shit. That's how we doing it. That's how we doing it. Wherever I get to school, that's where it's being announced. 3 of my Kwanzaa lectures are in potential FDMG cities. 3 of my Kwanzaa lectures are in potential FDMG cities. Chicago, December 26th. Atlanta, December 28th. Detroit, New Year's Day. Houston is December 30th. Who knows? The school might pop up in history. I'm trying to get this school. I'm trying to get this school, family. We're not playing no more. Ashe to the ancestor. Ashe. Ashe. Come with me. Help me fight. Ashe. Give me the blessings. Bring all the Pan-Africanists with you. Bring all the veterans of the Civil War with you. Bring them all. Help us fight. We at war all over again, Baba. Help us fight. Bring all the bishops of the AME Church. Help us fight. Ashe. We got to get this work done, brothers and sisters. I'm feeling good today. I visited the grave of one of my greatest heroes. I'm feeling real good today. I visited the grave of one of my greatest heroes. Yes, indeed. That's what it's about. I've been out here for 2-3 hours and finally found him. Praise be to God. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, Shay. Woo. Yes, indeed, brothers and sisters. Yes, indeed. So, I got a little bit of water left. And guess why I got a little bit of water left? Guess why a little bit of water, brothers and sisters? Because we have to pay respect to the parents of the good Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., brothers and sisters. That's why I got a little bit of water left. Let me say it again. We got to pay respect to Mama King and Daddy King. That's what we're going to do right now, because it's all about the Agungun energy. I'm a priest of the Agungun, initiated at Oyotunji African Village. I got to take care of the ancestors. Y'all can keep Hotep, and I'm going to take care of the ancestors. So we're going to go to Mama King. We're going to go to Mama King and Daddy King grave right now. We're going to go to Mama King and Daddy King grave right now. They right over here somewhere. Mama King and Daddy King, where you at? Mama King and Daddy King, where you at? They right over here, brothers and sisters. We are at the Southview Cemetery in Atlanta, Georgia. Uh-oh, we just found them. We just found them, brothers and sisters. Uh-oh. Ashe. 3 ancestors in one day. Boom. Y'all see that? Y'all see that, brothers and sisters? Do you see that? Do you see that? That's right. These are the parents of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. These are the parents of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. This is the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Sr., Daddy King, born December 19th, 1899. Born December 19th, 1899, and he passed away when? 11/11/1984. Who else died on 11/11? Who else died on 11/11? Let me tell you who died on 11/11. Reverend Nat Turner was killed November 11th, and the father of Dr. King died November 11th. Let me say it again. Reverend Nat Turner was hanged November 11th, and the father of Dr. King was also deceased November 11th. Look at how the spirit work. Look at how the spirit work. Look at how the spirit work. And then we have Mama King. Then we have Mama King, Queen Mother Alberta Williams King. Okay, Mama King. Mama King. Okay, Mama King. September 13th, 1904 to June 30th, 1974. The mother of Dr. King. The mother of Dr. King. The mother of Dr. King, who was killed, who was murdered. They murdered her son, then they murdered the mother. They murdered her son, and then they murdered the mother. Beautiful tombstone they got here. Beautiful tombstone they got here. The King family. So we got to pour ashe to them, because those are ancestors. If it wasn't for Daddy King, it would have been no Martin Luther King. If it wasn't for Daddy King, it would have been no Martin Luther King. To you, we thank you, sir, for giving us one of the greatest black leaders of all time. The greatest black leader of the second half of the 20th century. The man who fought in that Montgomery bus boycott. The man who gave us that civil rights bill. The man who fought for that civil rights act. The man who's going to give us that economic boycott, who died, who said, I might not get there with you, but I've been to the mountaintop. And I looked over, and we as a people will get to the promised land. I might not get there with you, but I'm telling you tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. We thank you for raising that man and sending him to Morehouse and sending him up to Chester, PA, and sending him up to Boston University. We thank you, Daddy King, ashe, because if it wasn't no you, there would have never been no him, ashe. If it wasn't no you, there would have never been no him, ashe. Mama King, Mama King, you gave birth to that prince. You gave birth to that prince. You nurtured that prince. You loved that prince. And then you sent your son out to the world, sacrificing his life like Christ Almighty. Sacrificing his life like Christ Almighty for the freedom of African people. Thank you, Mama King. Ashe. Ashe to Dr. King, who's downtown Atlanta, whose grave I normally visit all the time. I visit Dr. King's grave all the time. I might make a stop over there before I go to the airport. I might make a stop over there before I go to the airport. Next stop, brothers and sisters. Next stop, brothers and sisters, is Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina. The Prince of Pan-Africanism is on my way to Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina. Why am I on my way to Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina? Because there's a school in Raleigh-Durham for sale, and I got to take a look at it tomorrow. I said there's a school in Raleigh-Durham that's for sale, and I got to take a look at it tomorrow morning, so I'm about to fly on over. I was supposed to have been back in Philadelphia, evaluating children and typing psychological evaluations. I was supposed to have been back in Philadelphia, evaluating children and typing psychological evaluations, but I got a school to build. Black boys is counting on me. I don't give a damn about no Hotep haters. I said black boys is counting on me. Black boys is counting on me, and I'm not going to let them down. Black boys is counting on me. I'm not going to let them down. I could care less what the adults got to say. I could care less what some of the hating elders got to say. I could care less about that. Black boys is counting on me, and I will not fail. Ancestors gave me the ball. I will not fail. Say what you want to say. I'm not perfect. I ain't trying to be perfect, but I'm perfectly committed to the freedom of our people. Oh, yes, indeed. Oh, yes, indeed. We as a people will get to the promised land. Oh, yes, we will. Oh, yes, we will, brothers and sisters. So to all the ancestors in the cemetery, as I get ready to get to that airport and get on up to Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina tonight, I think I'm going to do a live stream from Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina tonight. I feel the spirit of the African Holy Ghost. I can feel the Orishas around me right now. I can feel the Agungun. I can feel the Loas and the Netters. I can feel the Abusums, Ashe. I can feel Nat Turner around me right now. I can feel Bishop Hiramidil Turner around. I can feel Daddy King and Mama King around right now, brothers and sisters. Oh, we're going to take care of the girls too. Don't worry about that. We're going to take care of the girls too after we take care of the boys. But remember, in taking care of the boys, we taking care of the girls because we're going to make sure your girls got a good husband. We're going to make sure your girls got an unapologetically African alpha male. We're going to make sure your girls got a good provider and a good protector. So in taking care of the boys, I'm automatically taking care of the girls. Ashe Black Power. Ashe Black Power. Ashe Black Power. One love. North Carolina, here I come.